Hello and welcome to part 1 of the OEM Plus build series. Now what exactly is OEM? What does that mean and where does it come from? Well, really a lot of it comes from the automotive industry, and it stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. So really what that boils down to is whenever you go to buy a car, or in this instance right here, we're going to say whenever you go to buy a Gundam, I have this Strike Freedom right here that I'm building. The stock colors that it comes in, the way it is directly out of the box from Bandai, that would be the original way that it came. The Original Equipment Manufacturer. That is how they manufactured this kit, with the colors that it comes with and everything else. Now we know that these colors come based off of the manga and the animes. However, if you want to do a build that's not too difficult, but you do want to keep it within the same color spectrum of your source materials, such as the Strike Freedom, I suggest an OEM Plus build. And what that means is, we're going to take the kit, we're going to keep the same colorway, however, we're going to change a few things up. So instead of it being, as you'll see in some of these pictures right now that I'll just kind of throw up, you notice how color scheme here is the stock color scheme. So what we're going to do is, instead of having just plain base white with some panel lining, plain blue, plain gold, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're still going to keep those same colors, but we're going to change a little bit of the shades of them. Also too, some pre-shading with just maybe 2 or 3 shades darker as the base coat is going to give a lot more depth, and it's not going to be an over pre-shaded thing. By the time it's done, it's going to look great. It's going to look a lot better than just doing the build straight out of the box and just painting it the exact same colors. Really, there's no need to even paint the thing if you want to keep it exactly the same colors. Just throw a clear coat over it, or as some people like to use, floor polish as a top coat. It works, and you'll be done and ready to go after throwing some decals on if you want to. In this instance though, by changing up the colors a little bit, what it's going to do is give you a more unique finish. It's going to keep it the same colorway as the source material, but you have the option of enriching the colors a lot more, deepening the final look of the build, giving it a much more serious, perhaps even professional tonality to it. So if you take, for instance, this build that I did for Judd, Your Average Consumer, this 007 sword build, he was very big on keeping it the stock colorway. He wanted it to look just like it did in the anime, but it gave me a little bit more freedom to be able to change up the colors just a little bit of shade here and there. Now, he's not much of a fan of pre-shading. However, the way the pre-shading work was done on this gave the final kit a much deeper and, again, serious tone to it that he was happy with, and quite frankly, I like the way that it came out too. Now, the Strike Freedom build that I'm going to be doing in the same fashion is going to have an OEM Plus build. The person that I'm doing this build for wants to keep it the way it looks basically from the anime, but I'm going to be changing it up with some metallics versus just keeping it flat bases. So part 2 of this series, I'm going to start showing you how to kind of figure out where to go with the colors, the different shades, and how to do some custom mixes. So this way your final build is going to look completely unique, specific to you, because they're custom colors you mixed. So if you're able to get a grasp on how to do this kind of build and this kind of paint job, it should help you out a little bit more when it comes to competitions and things like that. Also too, for those of you that want to have a full collection of perhaps a certain series, whether it's Gundam Wing or it's anything else like that, you can have these all lined up and they will look a lot nicer than just snapping them together and throwing a clear coat over them. And it will give you a chance too to be able to expand your mind when it comes to mixing colors and being able to blow that whole thing up even further for later on down the road when you do full custom color schemes and color changes on your Gundam kits. So as I mentioned, part 2, we're going to start actually going into the spray booth, and I'm going to show you how to do this kind of step by step. A lot of it is pretty much the same as just doing any other paint job, but I will show you a little bit more in depth with the color mixing and with the pre-shading, how that's going to work. Now, some of that pre-shading, especially on the whites, might not show up so well on the camera. I'll do my best to be able to capture it, but the shades are so subtle. However, without them, you will see a difference, especially when it's in person. Now, here's a couple more examples of what it is I'm talking about. These were some builds I did years ago, but these all kept the same kind of color scheme. However, the person that I did the build for, again, wanted to do something a little bit different, make it a little richer on the color aspect, and without going into doing any kind of custom color changes that were just too dramatic for them. So as you'll see, it's not going to really be that difficult to do. It's just following a couple of minor steps that we will get into shortly. That's all for today's video. It's a short and sweet one, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the preview, the idea of doing an OEM Plus build, and especially as we continue into doing the journey on the Strike Freedom Kit from beginning to end. If you like what you saw, hit that like button, comment below, let me know what you think, and if there's any other questions you have in regards to this topic or any other topics when it comes to doing these builds, hit that subscribe button as well. Again, I know there's a lot of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, so subscribing will help me to be able to produce more for you in the future. All things considered, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and bye!